Hey guys, welcome to RDP Live on Wednesdays, where we take 20, 30 minutes and we bullshit with our membership and occasionally have the guest and talk about what's current and what's not. This week's guest is going to be Alexi from Boostpower, and I'd like to welcome him. Alexi, you there?
Yeah, how you doing?
There he is right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice to see you.
So, Alexi, we were talking just before this, and when is the last time you and I have done something like this?
Oh man, it's been almost a year, right? Like we both were a little bit laid up.
So for those that don't know, well, I'm pretty sure half of everybody knows by now. When I was out at Lake of the Ozarks for the cigarette rendezvous, I was walking across boats and I came up very short, and I twisted my ankle around backwards. And in the blink of an eye, my life changed. And right after that, Alexi, why don't you tell them what happened to you?
I was sitting at a red light minding my own business, and some car just nailed us. A suburban going, they say 80 plus, but I don't really know the details, and put my wife, myself, and my daughter pretty much in the hospital right away. So it was a little bit rough.
Yeah, you had a concussion, obviously some back injuries, but
Yeah, everything, back, neck, mainly my internal organs, and I'm still having some issues there. But they say it just takes time, so
yeah,
I'm just trying to take it easy and lay low. But really, the scariest part was the concussion. I mean, I've had my bell rung a handful of times, but not like that.
yeah,
That was I never really thought a 2500 HD can bend in half.
yeah. Didn't you have to
So
like MacGyver the truck to drive it to the hospital or something?
yeah, something we that's a whole other story.
Nice to be mechanical
Yeah,
in
your
situations.
adrenaline makes you do weird things.
Ripping fenders out and whatnot. Anyhow,
Yeah,
yeah, so that's why, Alexi and I, about a year ago, we used to do Wednesdays or Thursdays, and we used to do them with Jake Coleman. Still love Jake. Jake kind of is focusing on his Dirty Dooner show right now and abandoned Boats and Hose for the time being. I, for one, hope that he resumes it because I always loved them. They were entertaining as hell to me.
yeah, it's
And
good stuff.
I'd put them up on the big screen in my garage when I wasn't on them and watch that, sit there and watch and drink a beer or a cocktail and really enjoy seeing the show per se. Which brings me to a quick thing for those watching. We'll play a little game. First member to guess in the thread of this Wednesday's live stream, it's called What's in the Cup. First person that guesses the right answer will get a free RDP shirt, courtesy of me. What do you think of that?
I think that's awesome.
Isn't that
I,
nice?
I got one of those.
You did get one
I
of
bet
those.
you know what's in my cup.
I do. I do. I gotta send you
It's
those RD.
after hours here now.
I gotta send you all the RDP swag I've been promising you for 2 years.
It's all good.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the industry. Obviously, you are neck deep in it right now, and let's talk about right before COVID happened, where you were at, and how COVID has impacted Boost Power.
So, without sounding ridiculously arrogant, we've always been pretty busy here, and we've had about a 12-month backlog on certain things, and some longer, depending on the length of the type of job that comes in. So, we were kind of in like a freight train moving, and when this COVID thing hit, we stayed working really, and the shop stayed open in the back. Obviously, we closed to the public in the front, and we changed things and complied with all the local laws and rules and suggestions and all those type of things. But we stayed moving pretty good, Dave. I mean, we're fortunate there. It was just weird to not be able to, like when UPS comes, we buzz them in and they drop it on a hallway and they go. Customer drops a boat off. He's in the back. We give him a gate code. We never see them.
Right, right.
Um, so I mean, we've made some major changes that are actually pretty costly. I would say that having to implement a new program for the employees and how we receive and purchase parts and do different things. I mean, there's a lot of changes, and I think that a lot of them might be permanent, in certain aspects. So from a dollars and cents standpoint, some of the mail order sales are down a little bit, but we're so busy in the shop with the diversified business that we do that it really hasn't affected us in any way there.
Yeah,
So
so basically for us, in terms of RDP anyways, We lost, a car dealership that had just signed up. They said that they were struggling a little bit. They hadn't sold any cars, and they were a smaller advertiser, so they quit.
Sure.
And I had another one just recently canceled, but it was also a brand new advertiser, and it was kind of we were just getting it all set up
Yeah.
right when the COVID struck. But other than that, we're still going 100%. It hasn't affected us much as far as real estate's concerned in Havasu. With my wife, it's been insane. It went, it was already busy, but it went straight up. I can't even describe it. I mean, she's literally working.
Yeah, and it might even continue to go straight up, but maybe even in a negative way. Like people will be selling their second house because maybe they lost their job. So I mean, I think you don't know what's going to happen. I keep telling everybody here, we got to look 6 months out, and I mean, all these programs they're doing for people where they're saying, okay, don't pay your mortgage, or don't do this, or they're using their credit cards or whatever they're doing. What's going to happen in 3 months is they're going to be like, all right, pay up all 3 months plus your mortgage. And, a lot of people may not be able to do that. So I'm thinking that over the next 6 months is where the marine industry will see it the most.
What's funny about that mortgage thing? When they originally put it out there, it was deferred payments. I assumed that they were going to take the payments and stack them on the end of the loan.
Right, they're doing that in car loans, apparently.
They're doing what they did. What you just said. They said, "Oh, you don't want to pay for 3 months? No problem. Just pay us 3 times in 1 month at the end of the 3 months." How the hell is that?
They're going to force people into basically default. So what's the first thing you're going to sell if you're in default? Your lake house, things you don't need. We're already seeing deals on boats and certain things because people are panicking.
It depends. Some of them are cheap, and some of them are still going for. I mean, coming from the recession prices, these things are crazy. I mean, you get a 1995 or 1997 Ultra 21 Stealth. You could buy that boat for 30 to 40 grand, depending on what you did. But the standard 350 with a Bravo, it was a $30,000 boat back then, and even in '99, whatever, it was a $30,000 boat. Those same boats are going for 35 grand right now.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I really think, to answer your question, for us, we're solid. I mean, it affected us on some of the mail order sales, but we think we'll get them back as we did a few days ago. I've been working from a remote location in the beginning of this because we really just didn't know what was going on. So I wanted the guys to be able to run the shop and no one in the offices. So we made some changes that way, but at the end of the day, I think those sales, because they're specialty things that you buy here. So it's not like they can go many other places to get a specific Boostpower bracket or a specific port job that they want to match their other engine to. So we're fortunate there. We'll get those sales back. But, at the end of the day, it affects everybody. I mean, it's going to be in the next 6 months where you're going to see the big effects, I would say, across the board in anybody's business.
Yeah, well, like I was saying earlier with us, the real estate thing going straight up, it isn't people selling their houses right now, it's people buying. With Stacy anyways, she's
right, and it may shift.
We've sold, I think, 7 or 8 lots in the Riviera out here right now, and she sold more $1 million houses in the last month and a half than ever. It's absolutely insane. But I think a lot of that is also from California. Those people are saying, look at what they're living through, and they're saying we want to go someplace that's probably a little more free, I guess you would say,
or maybe
less populated.
Or maybe they're planning their retirement, and that became an option for the lifestyle that they're used to, maybe down this way or abroad or wherever they're from. But I think that a lot of those things are going to be interesting to see evolve based on what's going on. I mean, I see some people doing just the opposite. They're making bank in the stock market. They're buying low, selling high. I see people that are buying deals on things that guys are like, I better get rid of this just in case. So, I mean, there's definitely opportunity out there, right? So, I don't know, I mean, tell us about the lake.
Shit.
All the lakes that you can get on are completely out of control full down this way. And I understand Lake Havasu was that way even when the ramps were closed.
Yeah, well, they didn't ever close the ramps. What they've been doing, it's a little misleading. Everybody in Havasu is saying, "Oh my God, the town, it's like a holiday weekend," and oh my God, this, that, and the other. They see the launch lines going all the way up McCulloch, and they see the launch lines, from the various ramps. But what people aren't understanding is, for some reason that is absolutely beyond me, what they're doing is like Windsor will hold 500 or 600 boats. It's a massive facility, and they'll only sell 150 permits right now. So you'll
That
go
way
in.
they can show maybe the social distance.
What's a
Some
truck and a
effort
trailer
toward
going to
not
get
being-
the truck and the trailer is going to get COVID? I mean, what's the difference?
Yeah,
It's a
I
parking
don't
lot.
know. Maybe they're regulated to have to show some change.
I don't know. Originally
Yeah, I don't either.
Arizona State Parks, originally when the COVID first came out, they ran a massive campaign, and a lot of people don't know about this, but they were giving every single car that went in there a postcard that said, "Yes, we're open. Come on in." And it was like, "Come to Arizona State Parks," right? And as a matter of fact, it was kind of annoying because here you got your season pass, and you show it to the lady at the window, and she would make you roll down the window and like put her face right in the car to hand you that postcard. And I'm like, dude, we don't need that, But
Yeah.
they were mandatory. They were giving it to every single person. But now that it's actually kind of, the quarantine, the stay-at-home orders, whatever you want to call them, now they're limiting those launch ramps. So these lines are so long, so it's making it look busier than it is. But that said, it is still busy as shit. I mean, I've flown drones over the lake. Obviously I can see the lake from my house. There is a ton of boat traffic out there. Three Dunes look like they're more packed at Three Dunes than a holiday weekend because they closed the channel.
We got reports back from customers that were out that it was crazy busy. So that's,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's a good thing. But, I'll ask you this, and maybe some of the watchers will be interested, but wasn't there some controversy like going on? Like they didn't want people from out of state coming in and this, that, and the other. And
Yeah,
what
so
was that all about?
there's a big thing here between the Californians, and Nevadans, and even New Mexico, because we get all three of those states are pretty much the primary target of Lake Havasu.
Right.
A lot of the locals didn't want out of towners coming here because they were obviously afraid that out of towners would bring the virus with them to here. And already, Lake Havasu's full of preppers, as you know. And the preppers were already like depleting the grocery store, so they're saying this mass influx of people would deplete the rest of the supplies. I even had a lot of the people on my website kind of pissed at me for not like endorsing the idea, from my group page, I guess you would say, in Havasu, not my website. My website's primarily made up of out-of-state people. But the Facebook group page has a lot of Lake Havasu locals on it. They were kind of pissed that I wasn't endorsing the idea of you guys stay home. And I was like, what am I going to do? Tell my entire website to F off? I'm not going to do that. That's suicide.
Well,
It's
you're
stupid.
not the policeman.
Exactly, and that's what I told them. I said, if their governor issued a stay-at-home order and they are getting in their car and towing a boat to Lake Havasu, what the hell makes you think they're going to listen to me? But yeah, there's been some epic online battles, not only on RDP, the website, but on the local Facebook group pages. It's been entertaining to say the least, and even on RDP. I mean, some of these Facebook posts are 500-600 posts.
Yeah, I read a lot of them. It was interesting because it's not just Lake Havasu.
No, it's everywhere.
Go to Missouri or go to Florida or certain parts where there's lakes that are actually accessible by the public. They're all going through a little bit of that locals only thing, and
Yeah.
I totally get it on both sides. Someone said to me the other day, they're like, "Well, if it wasn't for the Californians, Havasu wouldn't be there." And all these comments you hear. So I don't know. I kind of just stay neutral with it. My deal was I could have went boating a million different days, and I just kind of laid low and pretty much, stayed around as much as I could.
My thought process on the whole thing, because I never actually voiced it before, I was just kind of like towing the line politically, right?
Sure.
I can't in good faith tell Californians don't come to Lake Havasu because I had a river house in Parker for 40 years and I lived in California, and I'm going to tell you right now that if I was in California and this stuff happened, I would be at my river house.
Of course.
As a local, yeah, of course. No, don't come, right? But as a realist, if I was in California, I'd be like, I'm going to lake. I don't know what to tell you. And I'd have brought enough supplies and I'd have tried to weather the storm in my Parker house in those days,
Well, all the people up at our lake, that's what they did. They went and hid up there and just relaxed. They don't have to interact with nobody.
Exactly.
They can just go launch their boat because we have our own ramp. And they just go mess around and float around, and they're not bothering nobody. I get that. But like at our lake, for example, there's people that are on the water. They have to have their own ramp, and there's not that many ramps.
Right.
But the public ramp is closed. But that doesn't mean that one of your neighbors didn't pick up a virus from some town and bring it up. So you're not going to tie next to them. You know what I mean?
Strangely, that's the only thing that I saw that kind of made me raise an eyebrow about the out of towners is I went out boating. Obviously we live here, and I went to a steamboat, and there was big raft ups, and I was like, "What are you guys doing, dude? Like, I get to go boating, being social distancing, all that, but if you're rafting up 8, 10, 12 boats, that ain't that isn't what it is."
Right.
Now, that
Yeah. I
being
don't.
said, when I saw that, that was the information at the time that I had, which was, holy shit, we're all going to die. And that was the mindset was like, oh my goodness, what are these people doing, I'm not some COVID expert, and honestly, I don't want to take our whole 30 minutes up talking about COVID, but seeing the reports, seeing the numbers, seeing that they lied about this, seeing that every single, there's no such thing as a death from pneumonia right now. The flu deaths are like in the hundreds instead of the thousands. Seeing all this stuff, I think we were sold a bill of lies. My personal opinion, and I'm going to ask you for yours next, is open everything back up. And if it comes in a second wave, I want to see a second wave because I don't think we ever saw a first wave. I think they grossly overhyped this thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's real, but I don't want to give my opinion because mine's probably a lot worse or rougher than yours. But I can only allude to this. Every day we talk to people worldwide. Like our business is very international. Like that, a lot of people don't know that. Like we sell to a lot of countries and probably more so than anybody else. And I've asked every single person in the past month because I've been working kind of from home, right? Mm-hmm. I've been on the phone and doing different things. And so do you know anybody that's sick from this situation? And most of them say no. I only had 2 people tell me, in fact, a third yesterday, that yes, an elderly family member of them has it. Okay.
So my nephew,
I mean, it's there,
yeah.
and but like I talked to a guy in New York the other day, and he's right in the middle of it. And I said, "Do you know anybody that?" He goes, "Well, they're saying that there's people at the hospital just 5 miles from me, but no, I don't." And I'm saying to myself, God, it's just weird. I'm sure it's true, but I don't know what information we really get. Like, how is it filtered? It's crazy to me.
It's interesting. So my nephew ended up getting it, as well as his mom and his dad. His mom and my brother divorced, so that's why I word it that way. They were traveling in Spain, and all of a sudden this started breaking out, and they got on a plane to come home, and he broke out in a fever in the plane. Obviously, he didn't know he had it before he got on the plane and all that.
Sure.
He's 20 years old, not a smoker, no underlying conditions, and it was like 5 weeks of hell. It almost killed him. The mom obviously got it because they were all 3 sitting together on a plane. She got it, and I think she was sick for a week and a half, 2 weeks. The dad, who has an immune system problem already, he did not show any symptoms. All 3 of them tested positive for it. Anyhow, yeah, I know people that have had it. It's not a secret. Andrew Games and Carly had it down in Parker. Carly said that she couldn't smell or taste anything for a couple of weeks. Andrew, I think he just drank his way through it. He never had a symptom.
Well, I mean, the thing is, if they publicize all the people that have the regular flu every year and did the numbers and everything the same,
oh yeah,
would it be much different? That's what I don't know. I don't follow it. Like my opinion really doesn't matter because I don't follow it enough to know. But I'm just saying, like, maybe we all have it. Who knows? Maybe it's just one of the colds. I mean, when you get a flu vaccine, it's not guaranteed because they don't know which strain it is.
Exactly.
So, I mean, if they don't know which strain it is, I mean,
the flu vaccine thing's a joke if you ask me. I met 2 people in my life who were paralyzed from getting that. 2.
I won't do it.
I won't do it either. Fuck it. I'll stay away from it.
Right. But I did get circumcised.
I met 2 people that went in, got a flu shot, and came out in a wheelchair. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I never even heard of that. And if you look up the stats, it's like 1 in a million it paralyzes.
Well, they're giving you the virus.
It's like a dead version of the virus, and it triggers your autoimmune system. But,
something.
But they say it's 1 in a million it'll paralyze you, and I met 2 in my lifetime, and I was like, dude, I don't think it's 1 in a million. If I met 2, but if you think about that, 330 people a year in America would get paralyzed from that shot. So that's just, I'll deal with it.
I'm not a medical expert in any way, but I have some common sense. So I'm just laying low and doing my thing, kind of like you. I'm not overdoing it. none of our employees are overdoing it. They're going home. They're relaxing with their family. But it's still a story. What if my wife goes to the market and picks it up? I mean, you don't know. Anytime you leave and you're around a human, whether they have a fart mask on or not, it don't matter. I mean, if you get something and then you meet up with somebody, you could potentially get any of the above. I don't care if it's a flu, coronavirus, Ebola, any of it.
Or a cold.
A
common cold used to kill people back in the day.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to wrap this up because the COVID thing's not who we are. We're certainly not medical experts in any way. But, you mentioned earlier how you changed some policies around your shop, changed some, dynamics of how you're receiving and shipping. What we were doing, I had Stacy's grandfather, her mother, her friend, and then my mom also at my house, literally just because I said, to be honest with you, I was a little nervous that if things went boogaloo in California, I don't know if you're familiar with that term or not, but
that happens.
Yeah, I know. If things get a little sketchy with food supplies or anything like that, these people are old. They're not armed.
Toilet paper.
Exactly.
Like, why are they buying toilet paper? You can just use the lawn like a dog. I mean, what do they think they're going to eat a meal of toilet paper?
I don't know. So I brought them all out here, and what we did for our policies, and we're still doing it, is if we go to the store and we have groceries, we throw all the groceries in the toy hauler fridge, and we let them sit in there for a couple of days. And the dry goods and box goods, they just sit in the toy hauler for a couple of days. And, the virus can't live forever, right? So you just let it sit there and kind of work itself out. And if it's got to get out before then.
In case it's on the surface.
Yeah, we Lysol it off, we wipe it off, and then we bring it in the house. And we're still doing that to this day,
So do you wear a mask?
No. Well, that's not true, yes. It depends on the situation. I wore a mask in the store the other day just because there's these people that, dude, if you're not wearing it, they're gonna like yell at you.
Like, I don't go anywhere, right? So it's fine for me. But my wife was like, I didn't have my mask on at the market, and they all thought I was an alien. I'm like,
yeah, it's crazy. But
that was before they made it mandatory.
For the most part, no. Like, I stopped at the liquor store on my way over to Austin's today. I'm not wearing a mask. It's just be careful what you touch and sanitize, I guess, is the right word. Yeah. So let's talk about something else, Alexi. Let's talk about boats, man. That's what we do, right? Well, you do more than boats. You guys do automotive. You do...
We do anything to do with horsepower, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about boats. I've asked you this once before, but I know there's a lot of people that don't know the answer. What is your favorite boat of all time? You're going to get stuck. One boat. You got to own it the rest of your life. What's it going to be?
The 21 Cheyenne.
Boom!
There's not much. I mean, look, it's what I was born in. So I mean, that's basically all I know. I love the little boats. I love the river boats. Even at 50 miles an hour, they're a blast. You know what I mean?
Today, for myself, it is also it's either that or the Hallet 240. These are river boats, mind you. We're not talking big offshore boats.
Nice. Those are all nice boats. I mean, the little V-drive boats are so cool. I mean, I always tell people, they're like, why do you like those things so much? I'm like, have you ever driven one?
Yeah.
They say, no. I said, okay, well, find one that runs like 80, even 80 miles an hour, and go drive it. Because it's like driving a little slot car. It's just a lot of fun.
When you're doing 80, 85, and you push the down pedal a little bit, and you turn around in the river, and you're back on the throttle, and the turbos spool up, and it is the most amazing experience.
The sensation of speed is worth it. I love big boats too, but for me, like, it's like watching a slot machine, the speedometer.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the feel like a small boat, but that's just my personal preference. I've driven them all, obviously, you know that. But
so let's talk about.
They all have their way.
For 1 second here, because I don't think a lot of people either know or appreciate your resume. You are one of the guys that has tested more boats than anybody out there. Is that right?
Probably. I mean, I've done quite a few. I would say Bob's probably tested maybe more than I have.
Bob's tested thousands of them because he was working for
we're a different age group. But I mean, I've been doing it. Gosh, it's been about 21 years testing boats, I think. I don't know. You'd have to ask our buddies Chris and all those guys. I don't really remember.
But you were the main test guy for all the...
But if you add those up, plus what we do for the shop, it's quite a bit of boats.
Mm-hmm.
I swear to my kids, I would actually try to mathematically figure it out one day. They always ask me, how many boats have you driven, Dad? It's like,
It's got to have a comma.
thousands of them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So we are planning on doing RDP boat test this summer still. We were actually getting ready to do it in May, and the COVID thing happened, and I wasn't sure if people were going to come or not. So we just said, well, let's put everything on hold and kind of see what
Yeah,
happens.
we'll schedule it up.
Boostpower, obviously, you guys are still working, but doing doing it the correct way. A lot of the boat manufacturers, I'm not going to start listing names because California's full of Nazis, and I don't want a government official showing up someplace, but all the boat manufacturers are basically still working and still delivering boats. As a matter of fact, I have 5 boats I have to write up this week that were delivered by various manufacturers, and those are being delivered like literally within the last week to up until literally Sunday. One of them got delivered here in Havasu Sunday.
I mean, that to me, that's good news. I mean,
It is.
look, if you could be open and maybe just close the doors to the public,
Yeah.
who's going to bother you? I mean, be smart about it. Keep your distance. Wash your hands. I mean, one of the things they told us is we have to wash our hands every 15 minutes. It's like on a poster that we have to have in our county. I mean, that's a little excessive,
Seems a
right?
little excessive if you're not leaving your shop.
Yeah, I mean, we wash our hands every 5 minutes because there's grease and fuck on it all day long.
All right, buddy. Well, we're
interesting.
We are 30 minutes in already, and I sure appreciate having you on here, and I really enjoyed it. And I'd like to,
Anytime.
I'd love to have you back. And next time instead of talking COVID, I'd rather talk boats. And unfortunately, one thing I am going to tell you is I have to sell my Precious. I got to sell my 21 Shiata. Because of my ankle, I can't drive it anymore. I literally just cannot drive it. And my Hallet is more of a stand-up boat than a sit-down boat. And so I took it down to towards the springs the other day. By the time I got there, I had water coming out of my eyes. It was, it's a lot of pain. So I got to figure out a new boat program for me and the family. So I am going to be selling both those boats. But I told my wife, I said, if I do that, I am going to get something that I want, which has always been a V-Drive 21 Shiata. And we're going to have to figure out something where maybe it's a left hand or a left foot throttle instead of a right. And then I'll do a electric cab plate or something. But anyhow,
switch it over or build it up, re-rig it, whatever. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Either that or if I can get my foot moving more, maybe a short throw throttle or something. I don't know. I got a million ideas for that. But if we do that, I would really like Boostpower to be involved with the project. Again, Alexi, I always enjoy you. I'm looking forward to getting together with you soon. It's been way too long.
Sure.
Beavis is coming out here on Monday, I believe. You got any plans to come out with him?
I don't. I'm just trying to stay busy here at work.
There you go.
They need me back full time.
For those that don't know, Beavis is Lee Spindler from Shiata, who's a mutual friend of mine and Alexi's. But Alexi, thanks for coming on today. Thanks for entertaining the crowd, and we will definitely have you back soon. God bless you. Stay safe.
All right. See you guys. Thanks.
Bye. Oh my God, Austin, I have to piss so fucking bad.